Right now, some National Guard troops from New Jersey, they are headed to Washington, D.C. to help keep the peace.
We are joined this morning by Congressman Andy King. So good morning to you, sir. Thank you for being here this morning.
Thank you for having me here.
Congressman, you are a former White House national security official, right? I was reading your history here, who advised the Secretary of Defense and the Pentagon on matters of national security. When you look at what unfolded yesterday and what was going through your mind when rioters stormed the Capitol in what should have been a place that was heavily protected.
Yeah, you're right. You know, for me, I worked as a United States diplomat, as a national security official. I worked out in Afghanistan, spent time in Iraq. I've been through a lot of lockdowns before and shelter in places before in those war zones. I just never would have imagined that we would have a lockdown of the United States Capitol.
Congressman Kim, what was your lockdown like, and what were you experiencing and seeing?
Well, for me, we were just about getting ready for votes, and the first votes of the day, winding down debate. So I was making my way down to that. So luckily, I was informed about the crisis before I got there to the House floor. So I was able to find a place where I can shelter in place, and then was able to spend the bulk of my time in my office, in the safety of my office.
Well, I'm glad that you are safe and that you are secure, but given your bio and your history of national security, do you agree that the actions of the rioters that were taken was a matter of national security and that the National Guard should have been brought in quicker?
Oh, it certainly was a national security. I mean, it was an insurrection. It was horrifying to see one of our temples of our democracy treated in that way, and we really didn't know what was going on at that time. We didn't know if the people coming in were armed.
Right.
We later saw, I believe, that there were some explosives that were found in and around the area. So, you know, this was certainly a national security crisis.
Congressman Kim, how are you going to get to the bottom of this? How are you going to find out where the lapses were, where the breakdowns were, and how in the world that this was allowed to happen in the first place?
Yeah, that's certainly something that's been on our minds. I haven't had time to really focus in on that just yet, but I had a couple of conversations late last night with my colleagues about what comes next, and that is certainly one part of it. But look, you know, we certainly need to make sure we get to the bottom of that, and first of all, make sure that this kind of event never happens again, but to also just make sure that we're holding people accountable.
Do you feel safe right now?
I do feel safe right now. I felt safe yesterday when I was able to find a place where I could get some distance from the crisis. I was very concerned about my colleagues, but you know, it was very important for us to get back to work last night. We worked up until I think around 4 a.m.
Right.
was around the time that I left the Capitol. I think it was important to show the American people that our democracy is resilient.
Yeah, I mean, and Congressman, you know, there was a 9/11 commission that gathered after what happened on 9/11 to figure out the failures that led up to it. You know, we talk a lot about this word insurrection, and for those who are wondering what exactly it is, you know, it's an act or instance of revolting against civil authority. That's what we saw unfold yesterday. And you mentioned working through the night and the importance of that. I want to go one step further, because you're not going to do it for yourself, and applaud you for then, after that work, we have the images, getting out and cleaning up after the mess that was left behind. Why did you feel this was important? You didn't even know these photos were being taken. You didn't even see them until just now.
Well, you know, the Capitol's our home. It's in fact, you know, as I was cleaning up, I saw a plaque that reminded us that George Washington laid the cornerstone of that building. It's, in my opinion, the most beautiful building in the country, and I love it. And, you know, I think last night, with all the pain that was happening and the crisis, I felt in some ways my patriotism renewed and heightened, actually. And I felt, you know, it was so important for us to just do it. It broke my heart when I walked through the rotunda and just saw, you know, all the mess and the debris there. So that's when I just found a trash bag and just started cleaning up.
Congressman, it's a loaded question, right? And perhaps your cleaning up of the Capitol is a metaphor for what we need to begin the unification process for the country. But where, and now I know it's loaded, where do we go from here?
Yeah, you know, I'd be lying if I say I knew all the answers. You know, for me, I was a career public servant, as I mentioned. I worked under both Republicans and Democrats under the Bush administration, the Obama administration. I'm a Democrat that served under a Republican senator as a staffer. I just figure, we've just gotten to this level where the partisanship has just become so corrosive and toxic to our communities and our society. And we've gotten to the point where we just do not see each other as Americans first often. And I think that that's a real shame, and that's a huge problem. And, so look, this is not something we can legislate away or investigate away. This is going to be a long road ahead for recovery. But we got to make sure that we focus on it.
Congressman Kim, you've got a lot of work ahead of you. We thank you for what you're doing. We thank you for your time today.
Thank you.